Hey YouTube, this is Jane Storm coming at you with the third segment on this special that I'm doing on the Power Rangers in celebration of the 20th anniversary. And I'm now going to be covering the third series of the Power Rangers, which was Power Rangers Turbo, which aired in 1997. Now, Power Rangers Turbo also brought in a new movie. If you remember correctly, in my Mighty Morphin segment, I covered the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie that was released, and it was insanely popular. As for Power Rangers Turbo the movie, which I believe did not air in theaters, it was the prequel, so to speak, that led us into the third series, which was Power Rangers Turbo. In Power Rangers Turbo, pretty much we see just a few minor things. Overall, the movie by a lot of Power Ranger fans is looked at as a not very successful one. However, it did have a couple of good things. One, it showed us the new series of Power Rangers that we could have expected. It also showed us a new Ranger, which I'll get to when I get into the cast. And it also showed us where the Power Rangers got their power from, which is they get these 6 power keys, and they were powered up by this life force, and that's how they became the Turbo Rangers. I'm not going to get really into the plot of the movie. If you're interested in that, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. If not, I'm pretty sure someone has stuck it on the internet before. So I invite you to go do that. But now I'm going to talk about the series that was Turbo. Now, Turbo Rangers, here are the cast. Jason David Frank, Tommy, which was the Red Turbo Ranger. Blake Foster, which was Justin, the Blue Ranger. Johnny Bosch, which was Adam, the Green Ranger. Nakia Burst, which was Tanya, the Yellow Ranger. And Catherine Sutherland, which was the Pink Ranger. Now, these 5 Rangers, they have been entrusted to protect the world from Divatox, who is a pirate and uses her powers to try and conquer Earth. Which is the common theme here. There's always some person somewhere from some place in the world that wants to take over the Earth. And, the Machine Empire failed, and Lord Zed and Rita failed, and now Divatox wants her shot. So here she comes, and she is trying to take over Earth, and these are the people that are standing in her way. So pretty much, Turbo Season, it reveals to us a lot of things. First off, everyone graduates from school pretty much, except the Blue Ranger, and this was the series that had the youngest Power Ranger, at least from her American standards, which was Blake Foster, or Justin, the Blue Ranger. He was, I believe, like in middle school would be my guess, like 6th grade. But one of the big things that this series also brought is that, like, 30 episodes into the season, so about halfway through, we see almost a complete cast change. And the reason for this was a lot of the Rangers, they either wanted to move on. Saban felt that it was best to change the cast because 3 of these characters had been around for the previous 2 series of Power Rangers, for different amounts of time, and they felt it was different to start changing the cast. Also, I believe because for the next series of Rangers, they wanted to already have them selected. So I think that's partially why they did it. So anyway, the fill ends about halfway through the season. Zordon contacts the 4 Rangers that graduated high school and told them that their job has been fulfilled, that their journeys as Power Rangers is over. Well, for most of them. And it's time for them to pursue other things in life because that's the way life is. So, we see 4 Rangers. It's time for them to move on. We have Selwyn Ward, who fills in for Tommy, Selwyn Ward was TJ, so TJ takes over for Tommy as the Red Ranger. We have Roger Velasco, who is Carlos, who fills in for Adam as the Green Ranger. We have Tracy Lynn Cruz, which is Ashley, who takes over for Tanya, the Yellow Ranger. And we have Patricia J. Lee, the Pink Ranger, Cassie, who takes over for Catherine. And so we see 4 Rangers swap out, and then Justin remains with the second group and still is the Blue Ranger since he technically is still a kid. So anyway, through previous episodes, we are introduced to these 4 new characters. We see them in a few episodes here and there, and you know, so we're introduced to them early, like we were with Adam, Rocky, and Aisha when they took over, and then they are basically transported to this chamber and told by Zordon, "You're gonna be the next selection of Power Rangers. Here you go. You get a car." These kids, they didn't have to, like all of us, go get a job and get a car. For Turbo, their Zords were cars. So Zordon was like, "Here, you get to protect the Earth and you get a car." So, hey, it was a win-win for them, right? So anyway, so Turbo, it was a pretty much it fell in suit with like all the Power Rangers. Turbo had introduced to us, as you see from Power Rangers, they always change the theme, and this theme was completely dedicated around cars. We all, like in this series, we see Jason, David, Frank, Tommy spending a lot of time around cars and racing and things like that. But like I said, for most of this series, it started to become apparent that eventually new Rangers would have to come around. Turbo as a whole, the series was really not that good in my opinion. From what I saw of it when I was a little kid, I thought it was cool, but looking back on it now after I've seen all the series, Turbo overall was really not that good. And I find it, hard to kind of say, a lot of good things about the series, but there is one other Ranger that did come to be, and that was the Phantom Ranger. Now, in Turbo, through a series of episodes, they are introduced to this guy who, I don't know what he looks like. If you really want to look him up, it's the Power Ranger Turbo's Phantom Ranger. And he comes in, he helps them from time to time. Eventually, he gets in the middle of his chest plate, because he's always in uniform. You never see what he looks like underneath. He's wearing a ruby here in his chest plate, and that's his life force. At one point in the series, it gets taken from him, and the Power Rangers, they somehow are able to restore his life force, and he elects to leave Earth because he feels that the other Power Rangers can protect the Earth, and he doesn't need to be there. And also, I just realized a mistake I made. Zordon also was not in this series. Zordon is actually captured, so that is a huge mistake on my part for that. I apologize. It says from my research, blah, 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 blah. Zordon is captured, and this new person comes in, which her name, I believe, like I said, I really didn't follow Turbo really well, because overall, I really didn't like the series as a whole. I really can't think of the name. I don't know, guys. Like I said, hang on, I think I found it. Alright, guys, I give up. I can't find it here in all of my... Demetria. That's who it is. It was Demetria. Demetria takes the place of Zordon after Zordon is captured at one point. And pretty much Demetria, a woman with a white cloak, long brown hair, face always covered, and the way she communicates with the Rangers is she only talks in questions. So I can imagine that was pretty annoying for the Rangers, when they're trying to get advice out of her, and But anyway, that's really all there is to know. I mean, Alpha 5 leaves, but in my opinion, Alpha 5, Alpha 6, there's no difference. They still do the same thing, so that's why I didn't mention that. Turbo as a whole, it was really, I think it was one of those series that they thought was going to be extremely popular. because they start out with a movie that they thought was going to be huge and wasn't. They start out with, all these cars and things like that, and they thought that'd be popular, and it really wasn't. And I think when they brought in the new Rangers, it might lift the series up to save the series. Realized it wasn't, so they just kind of killed the series to move on to the next one. Pretty much, Divatox eventually breaks into the power chamber, destroys it, it sends the Rangers running, and they elect to go to space to try and track down Zordon and save him. And Blake Foster, or Justin, decides to stay on Earth with his dad and not go with the Power Rangers to space, which is where the next series of Power Rangers happens. And that's the end of Turbo. So, and the Turbo Rangers leave behind their identities as the Turbo Rangers. Their powers really don't get destroyed. They just kind of, I guess, lose their keys. And so the Turbo Rangers no longer exist. They get in and they fly away to Earth, fly away from Earth, and go into space to try and track down Zordon and save him. So anyway, that's the long and the short of it. And this leads into the next series of Power Rangers, which was Power Rangers Lost in Space, which will be the next segment that I will do next time I do a filming session. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed all this. In the comment section below this time, please tell me everything you liked about Turbo Rangers. Tell me what you thought about the series as a whole. My grade for this series, I would have to give it a C, guys, and that's because Power Rangers Turbo to me was one of those things, like I said, I thought they believed it was really going to be good, and then it just slowly started to get bad, and they just eventually said, you know what, we just need to stop, and we just need to move on. So that's where, Power Rangers Lost in Space came into be, which will be our next video on this specific topic. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. In the comment section below, please tell me what you thought about Power Rangers Turbo. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you didn't like about it. Tell me if you think I did okay on this video. I know it's probably not as good as the first two, but like I said, Turbo was really not that great of a series, and it wasn't one of my favorites, so I tried to just give you guys all the important points. But hope you liked it anyway, so please thumbs up the video for me. I'd appreciate that. And please check out the next video when it comes out. It will be covering Power Rangers Lost in Space. Hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if I did a good job, and I'll see you later.